A good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 6th September 2024. Come to the Crusty Podcast, episode 307. Oh my God, Mr. Singh sings the blues. Yes, what now? What is going on now in Canadian politics? Mr. Jagmeet Singh of the NDP does not want to support the Liberals anymore. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. Is it going to be beneficial for Canadians in the near future? Or is it nothing but a grift and a plea and just basically looking for attention? Who knows, ladies and gentlemen? All that and more come in the podcast. Listener and viewer discretion is advised because I will swear this episode and I will make some funny faces and make some unkind gestures to lazy politicians. Stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. What now? Episode 307. Singh sings the blues. Oh my goodness. Jagmeet Singh's upset. He's taking his ball and he's going home. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. And this podcast is also brought to you in part by and supported by the Veterans for Freedom Network. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Stand to Veterans for Freedom. And coming soon, Veterans for Freedom TV. So pay attention to your online listings for that in the near future. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck, ladies and gentlemen. And if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, and comment as much as you can. We have to get the algorithm going here for us Canucks to let us Canucks get our words out there too before Bill C-63 takes into effect. Now, it hasn't come to second reading just yet, but needless to say, every one of you is give me a thumb up and give me a comment or ask me a legitimate question. And if you want to financially support me, please do. All the information is in the comments section there or in the description there. So, like I said, big news. Jagmeet Singh doesn't want to support the Liberals anymore. He's only had 2.5 years to come to that conclusion. Needless to say, he shouldn't even done it to begin with, ladies and gentlemen. I've never been a big supporter of the NDP, nor should you, because the NDP brand has failed just as much as the Liberal brand has failed too. I remember the NDP actually really standing up for workers, meaning people that actually work for a living, not people that just complain about going to work for 3 days out of the week, not like those PSAC wankers in Ottawa and Montreal as we speak today. You know what I mean? Yeah, but needless to say, the brands have changed over the years. It doesn't matter if it's Jagmeet Singh, doesn't matter if it's Jack Layton, doesn't matter if it's Mulcair, doesn't matter if it's Justin Trudeau, doesn't matter if it was Paul Martin. The brands that I grew up to love, that I grew up to respect, have been null and void. Okay, so I'm going to cue some videos up here on the whole Jagmeet Singh thing. I got some commentary from Ezra Levant and Lauren Gunter from Sun Media, and Ezra Levant, owner and operator of Rebel Media. And I got a little thing here from Asti Kopoulos there from CTV. And she's come a long way, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. She actually stands her ground pretty proper when it comes to putting these politicians to an account. I got a lot of respect for her because she asks the tough questions and she puts them on the spot, as they should be. So needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, I'll cue those up for you later. I'm just going to give you my rant and rage and raving mad points of view about this whole fiasco. He hasn't said yet he's going to have a non-confidence vote. Now, Parliament isn't in session. They're not going to be in session until, I think, at least the 16th. So until the 16th of September, this is when we're going to see our politicians come back to work, after being off for the better part of 3 months. Must be nice, eh? Must be nice to have a 3-month holiday. Take the whole summer off and go spend it with the kids and go to the beach and go do some parties and have some drinks and barbecues, all that stuff. Hobgobble, hobgobble, hobgobble at our expense. But hey, that's another story. I'll save that for some other time, ladies and gentlemen. But needless to say, when you look at my title card, what now? What's going to be in the works for us now, ladies and gentlemen? Personally, I don't think he's going to do a damn thing because he does want to keep his pension. Right. It's a pretty good pension to get after being 6 years in Parliament, and considering he's being paid $200,000 plus a year to be one of the opposing members towards our government. Now he claims that they've come a long way. They put dental care in and they put pharmacare in and they've done all these wonderful things and they're standing up to the corporate greed and all this stuff too. But I'd like to remind you, my wonderful audience, that Jagmeet Singh's brother, or one of his brothers, is a lobbyist for Metro grocery chains. So while Jagmeet Singh sits and complains and talks about, oh my goodness, how dare we have these corporate monsters at Loblaws and all these other big chains do this and do that, gouging people, gouging the working class. He sits there with his Rolex on and his custom-made suits, dictating to you and me what's corporate greed. Okay. And yet his own brother is a lobbyist for another chain of grocery stores in this country. I think they're the same companies that bought out A&P and Dominion Grocers, or is that the other way around? I'm not exactly sure. But needless to say, they're a big conglomerate. We've all seen Metro stores around the Greater Toronto area, other cities, Edmonton. We've seen them all over Canada, okay? And when you get one guy sitting there saying, let's end corporate greed, yet one of his own relatives is actually lobbying for more corporate greed, which is it? Right? It puts things in perspectives, ladies and gentlemen. It really does. So you can sit there all you want and talk about how there's so much greed here, greed there. I've seen more greed in our politicians lately than I have seen other companies. Of course, there's lots of greed when you look at Big Pharma when it comes to how they're pushing the whole fentanyl issue and how they're pushing the drug and safe supply issue. Of course, there's greed there too, but we've got federal ministers supporting that kind of behavior. Okay, so let's just sit on our hands as good little Canadians and wait and see what's going to happen. Okay. Better yet, let's not sit in our hands. Let's ask the tough questions too. Let's get to the point where we have to sort these out properly, sort these individuals out properly. Now, every video you see of him, whether he goes on CBC or Global or CTV or independent media alike, he keeps saying he tore up the agreement. He's against corporate greed. He tore up the agreement. Like, did you stand there in front of the Prime Minister and tore up the piece of paper that you signed together with purple crayon? What'd you guys do? Like I said earlier in the show, I'm taking my bow. I'm going home. I can't believe you're doing this to me, Justin. After all my undying loyalty and my knee pads and all, I can't believe you're doing this to me. Oh, my God. What am I going to do? Maybe get a spine and get some balls. And I would recommend, sir, Mr. Jagmeet Singh, that you get off your ass and vote non-confidence in this government. Okay? Because I've said this in my show numerous times. Not the party, not the person, but your constituents and the country. And it doesn't matter where you sit in the fence, whether you're wearing the orange t-shirt, the blue t-shirt, the red t-shirt. No one fucking cares. What we care about is a lot of Canadians. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of greed out there. A lot of Canadians are losing their jobs. And they're losing their jobs not just because of what happened with the pandemic, but because of words and comfort and because of pronouns. So if you're standing up for the workers, why aren't you fighting for the workers that have lost their jobs over words? Why aren't you fighting for the workers that were ordered to do some stupid things during the pandemic? If you're a real blue-collar fucking hero, get out there and be a hero and rally for the people that really do work for a living. And not just a handful of office people that have to drag their ass into work 3 days out of the week because they got to take a bus and it's so hard. Talk about the people that put food in your table, that truck the food to your grocery store so you can show off your fancy shopping bags and what have you. I tell you, people, some people's kids.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Pardon that interruption there, too. I just tried to alter the microphone here, make it fit better, so I don't have to keep fucking around with it. But you see my point, though. And any sane Canadian, any sane voter out there, doesn't matter if you're American, Canadian, British, when you have this representation in democracy of people that cannot really just decide whether walk or chew gum or walk and chew gum at the same time, right? They just don't understand who they represent. We all know that absolute power corrupts absolutely. I get that. We've been told that since Christ was a cowboy. We've also been told, too, that representation is key in any democracy. It doesn't matter if you have a republic or a parliamentary system. Now, the representation I see that comes from Jagmeet Singh, he's basically just a follower. He's licked the boot heels of the prime minister since the last federal election, which was back in September 2021. And I believe that shortly thereafter, I think it was October or November, where he sat there and he signed this agreement where it will back you up, basically just to keep each other in power, to hold on to their jobs. Now, for a few individuals that sit in the Liberal Party or the NDP caucus. Okay, is that what's more important to you, to hold on to your jobs? How about representation, mother effers? How about representation? So regardless of the smoke and mirrors, regardless of what Mr. Singh says, because he is singing the blues, he always tries to come across as some kind of victim of some sort, like he's representing the downtrodden, right? Like he's really representing the downtrodden. Where have we seen that before? Interesting. And I think you know what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. But I mean, long story short, I don't buy it. Now, he may be against this agreement, but I personally think he's just going to hold on for dear life. Anyhow, I will play the video commentary from Ezra Levant and from Lauren Gunter on Ezra Levant's show there, too. I'll just queue up here, ladies and gentlemen. I'll put the closed captions on, too, if you have trouble hearing. But needless to say, they sum it up pretty good when it comes to what they're doing, when it comes to Jagmeet Singh's tactics and what have you. You know, so I'll just cue this up and we'll be good to go, ladies and gentlemen, and formulate your own decision because, you know, regardless of how you feel about rebel media or not, they do a pretty decent job. So, like, ladies and gentlemen, you decide.
Via Skype from Alberta's capital city of Edmonton to talk about is our friend Lauren Gunter, senior columnist with the Edmonton Sun. Lauren, great to see you again. Just the other day, before this announcement was made by Singh, you were sort of laughing about Singh and saying there was really nothing he couldn't abide. There was no humiliation he couldn't accept from Justin Trudeau. It was almost like you had a premonition. Remind us what you were saying right before Singh buckled.
So in 1983, Brian Mulroney beat Joe Clark out of Clark's job. Clark had been the leader of the PCs and the prime minister. Mulroney beat him out, took both those jobs, and Clark decided to stick around and serve in Mulroney's cabinet. And then in 1991, Mulroney put Clark in charge of negotiating a new constitutional deal among the provinces except Quebec that would then be presented to Quebec. And when he finally got one, Mulroney was out of the country and Clark announced it, and then Mulroney flew back in a hurry and said, no, Joe was wrong. There really isn't a deal. The man had an infinite capacity for political humiliation. Tom Flanagan, who you know, a U of C prof, said at the time that Clark had the highest threshold for humiliation of anyone in Canadian politics. And I said, yes, until now. Yeah. And he'd been replaced by Singh. I mean, Singh has spent the last 2.5 years swallowing all of the garbage that the Liberals threw at them. And he said, oh, we have a pharmacare deal. No, you don't. You're covering a couple of drugs. We have a Dentacare deal. No, you don't. There are very few dentists who are actually participating in it, and some provinces have pulled out. Oh, but we have a school food. No, you don't. You're shy about 6 million kids in the program. It just doesn't cover anybody. And so on issue after issue after issue, the Liberals would say they lived up to Singh's promises, and Singh would just sort of, in a meek little way, lap that all up and continue voting for the Liberals. And it was embarrassing. But I don't think anything has changed. I mean, to answer your lead-in question, I don't think that Singh's announcement on Wednesday changes anything, because he has now said we will only support them on a case-by-case basis. Well, effectively, that's what they've been doing for the last 2.5 years.
Who doesn't?
I think the only thing that will come of this is that taxpayers in Canada will be harder hit, because the Liberals will have to spend even more money to get either the Bloc or the NDP to hold them in office. Of all those clips that we just saw, I think the funniest and at the same time the most infuriating thing that was said was Trudeau said, well, I hope there's not an election for another year, because we're planning to spend the next 12 months delivering on those things that we promised Canadians. They've been in power for 9 years. I mean, why are we waiting until the last 12 months for Justin Trudeau to actually figure out how to solve housing, how to solve inflation, how to solve crime? These are all problems his government has created. I actually was a little surprised when I saw Poilievre's remarks this morning. I saw them this morning. I thought he was weak. I thought he was contrived. I thought he kept trying too hard to show the contents of his T-shirt, and he didn't go after the fact that the Liberals and the NDP together for the last 2.5 years, the Liberals for the last 9, have created all of these problems. This liberal bail reform that's led to all the increase in violent crime, much of the increase in violent crime. It's liberal safe supply that's led to all the open drug use in public places. It's liberal spending policies and liberal interest policies that have led to the unaffordability of ordinary middle class staples like food and gasoline and electricity in your home. I mean, those are all liberal NDP created problems. And that's what I think Poilievre needs to keep hammering at. But it just infuriates me when Trudeau seems to think that, oh, well, you know, it's Pierre Poilievre who's going to hand everything over to big corporations and make huge cuts into programs that you middle-class Canadians are depending on. They create these dinky little programs that have no real impact.
Just to pause for a second, ladies and gentlemen, too, you got to realize as well that every time a Liberal government has come in and they've spent money, the Conservatives had to come in and create more money. Now, I saw that dynamic when Mulroney government was kicked out back in 93 and when the Chrétien Liberals came in 93. They did fix some problems. They brought money back into the system. They could put us out of debt. Fine. It's give and take, give and take. Doesn't matter if it's blue or red. Okay. But now you got this coalition. The prime minister has spent so much money, more so than every prime minister since the end of goddamn World War II. Right. And what are we supposed to do? So the honorable thing that Mr. Singh should do would be non-confidence, regardless if he loses his job. But, you know, who gives a shit? Anyway, I carry on.
Act on inflation or housing or crime or anything like that, and to correct problems they created, and then they say, "Oh, that miserable Pierre Poilievre, he's going to cut all those programs you've come to depend on at exactly the wrong thing." Well, now if you just reversed a lot of liberal policies, you'd get rid of all of that stuff quite simply. I mean, this is the worst government Canada has ever had. Period.
Worst government ever.
And so I don't want to hear from Trudeau, and I don't think Singh is going to pull the plug on these guys anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I think the difference between today and yesterday is yesterday, Singh basically said to Trudeau, it's a buffet. You can have everything and anything because we're yours. And now you can just order them a la carte. You'll just have to haggle for each dish off the menu. Or another way to look at it is you owned us before. Now you've got to rent us. So I think he might actually extract a little bit more because he's going to make demands on a more frequent basis. But Jagmeet Singh is doing very poorly in the polls. From what I understand.
Yeah, look at those polls. Okay. Look at those polls. NDP is really low. Liberals, of course, are lower than before. Okay, Le Bloc, they don't matter. Now, PPC is gaining some traction. Of course, the Greenies, they got their 2 seats in Parliament with Elizabeth May having her Ryan Ginger saying we're effed all the time. Elizabeth May, have a drink. Right? So we're seeing it. We are seeing the devastating impact of common sense coming our way, ladies and gentlemen.
Understand, I'd have to freshen my memory. I don't think they're doing well fundraising wise. I don't think he wants to go to the polls himself. I think he just realized that Justin Trudeau is so hated. I mean, David Coletto, who works for the pollster Abacus, he's my favorite pollster to quote because I know he's not particularly sympathetic to the Conservatives. So when he says something that is in their favor, I know he's not saying it easily, so I can trust him more. He says that when people look at Trudeau, they're more likely to hate him than just to dislike him, which is interesting. Normally, it's sort of like a bell curve. Most people are okay, a little bit of dislike, a little bit of like, and it's only the margins that they love you or hate you. With Trudeau, there's hate. I think it's people feeling let down, people feeling disillusioned.
What do you mean?
People just sick of him, sick of that voice, sick of that dramatic actor style, sick of how he never takes any blame. I just think that Jagmeet Singh has finally realized that he is hitched to the most hated man in politics, and he wants to get a little bit of room between them, but he doesn't want to stop supporting him. That's my view.
No, I think that's right. And the NDP do not want to go to an election now because, as you said, in the last 2 months, over the summer of 23, it was the Liberal support that collapsed, completely collapsed. You could see it in the polls day after day after day. They came down and down and down and down. They have never recovered from that. This summer, it was the NDP that came down and down and down. They've lost about a quarter of the support that they had going into summer. And I bet you that doesn't come back either. So Singh is hoping against hope that if he pulls away from Trudeau a little tiny bit, he will raise his party standing up at least high enough that they can win the same 25 seats that they won last time. Because right now they're headed for about 13 or 14 seats. They get half their caucus.
Nah, if they had called an election, let's say in the next 2 months, they'll probably go down to about maybe 10, maybe 9 if they're lucky.
Which is 26 members. Half their caucus is in BC. They are at risk of coming out of BC with only 4 or 5 seats. So he's hoping that if he gets a little distance from Trudeau, he can get back up to at least no net loss from the 2021 election. And they have their fundraising. You're correct in saying that it's collapsed too. Because why would you give money to the NDP if all you're going to get out of that is reinforcement of Liberal policy? So he had to sort of show that, and he said it in that video, I tore up the agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what?
Yeah. But you're still effectively abiding it.
Yeah, that was Ezra Levant and Lauren Gunter, ladies and gentlemen. You can check out. I'll leave a link in the description for you after the show for that, so you guys could follow at your own leisure. But you see his point, right? Now, like I said earlier, I don't think they're going to call an election. They want to hold on to their jobs for dear life. I think the NDP all across the country, provincial and federal alike, will be, shitting their pants if they did call an election. But like I said, it's not the party. It's not the person. It's the constituents and the country. And I really, really wish that all three parties understood that.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen. If you like it here and see, click like, subscribe, share this content all over your social media platforms too. Make sure if you're on the YouTube there, you click the notification bell when new content comes your way, and double check your subscriptions too. I know YouTube's getting a little finicky, and I don't care who's listening to this right now. I really don't care. YouTube, you know what you're doing. Stop screwing people around, okay? Stop screwing people around. Let people speak their minds. You don't have to watch the videos. Let people decide for themselves. It's that simple. But to my beloved fans out there on YouTube and Rumble, just double check your subscription just in case, and click the notification bell so when new content comes, you are informed. That simple. Anyway, carrying this episode, Singh sings the blues. Yeah, where have we heard that before? Okay, so if a non-confidence vote comes effective 16 September or 17 September, that should be good news, I would say, right? And there's lots of speculation out there. Can we afford an election? Do we need another election? I would say we need an election. We do. Look at the hoop and the holes we're in right now. Okay. I just saw something on CTV tonight in regards to the fine people at Tenet Media out of the United States. It's owned and operated, I guess, by Lauren Chen, and some notable independent journalists work on that program. Lauren Chen, a Canadian, who I think lives down in the States now. But needless to say, her and her husband created this program and created this media conglomerate, this platform. And Lauren Southern, she used to work for Rebel Media, and she's quite the outspoken individual. I like her work sometimes, her in informative ways, her articulation, just some pretty good stuff that she makes. Anyhow, CTV has said there's something to do with Russian propaganda. Oh my goodness. So what I'll do is I'll probably work on something on that a bit later. I don't know exactly when or how, but I will get probably down to the bottom of it and throw my opinion towards it once I get my information in order. But stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen, at a later time. Anyway, carrying with this episode, Sing Sings the Blues. Oh, Sing Sings the Blues. It sounds like a good record, probably on the worst album covers ever, but I think you get my point, right? He was elected. I guess his fan base love him, but he does nothing but follow. And it's because of him and his party that have assisted Justin Trudeau and his party do what they have done in the past 2.5 years. As you heard Lorne Gunter say, in regards to carbon taxes and catch and release bail reform. Now, he brags about this whole pharmacare thing. Whoop-de-doo. There's some insulin out there for diabetics, and there's protection for females that don't want to get pregnant. Is that actual pharmacare? It might help some diabetics and some people who don't want to get pregnant, but how about en masse? How about all the taxpayers en masse, too? Is there a cancer medication involved in that? Is there obesity medication? Is there medication for drug addicts? A lot of people don't want to say the term a drug addict anymore. They have to say addict. That way you don't know exactly what they're addicted to. But I'm not going to soften the blow and butter up a poop sandwich and call it something else. What kind of innovations have come with this pharmacare plan? Now, what kind of innovations have come through the Dentacare plan, too? There's not too many dentists who have actually signed up for it because they would lose money and lose part of their livelihoods because of it, too. Right? So what good has come out of all these suggestions? Oh, I'll prop you up if you promote this, and I'll prop you up if you promote that. Oh, we'll take on corporate greed together. How about the $1 billion slush fund? Is there corporate greed there? How about the missing money from the infrastructure banks? Is there corporate greed there? How about the payouts to people like Bombardier, Irving, and loan forgiveness from the federal government? Is there corporate greed there? Right? I ask him, Mr. Jagmeet Singh, what exactly are you promoting with this? Now, as my father used to say, shit or get off the pot. What are you doing? Now, if you're going to talk all big and stinky like a big fart, at least stick around and linger so people can take a proper whiff. You know what I mean? But, I think this is nothing but just a virtue tour and virtue points and a cheap fucking publicity stunt against the people that pay your fucking salary, sir. And, we'll see, We'll see. We'll see if he actually takes any proper action, if you take any proper integrity and do the right thing and actually promote the non-confidence with Pierre Poilievre come the 16th of September when you guys finally get your asses back to work. Right? So that's just me, though, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think in the comments, please. Please, if you like what you see, click like, subscribe, share this content all over your social media platforms. Do not be shy, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think. Let me know what's in your mind. Contact information and everything there is in my description, too. If you want to donate, please consider donating, too. Every little bit helps. Links there in the description, how you can donate at your leisure. Every little bit helps, ladies and gentlemen. Anyhow, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 6th of September 2024. I wish good things for you all out there. We had a record scorcher today. It's about 30 Celsius. I think by the end of the day, it was about 32 Celsius. Whoa, that's super hot. I was working with cattle all day, so I'm moving feed and I'm smelling manure and all that heat. Oh, that's just pretty, isn't it? Oh, my goodness. And I do that all the time. And yet you got these office workers that are under the PSAC union that are complaining because they have to go to the office 3 days out of the week. Oh, my God. You know what I got to say to them? Suck it up, buttercups. Anyhow, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 6th September, ladies and gentlemen. I wish good things for you all out there. I will try my best to get an episode up in the next couple of days or so. I'm going to try to add some more live streams to the mix if I can. So get your questions and comments ready there. Pay attention to my pages on YouTube and Facebook for updates. All that good stuff. Just look for Crusty Canuck and you'll find my mug somewhere. You can ask me a question, whatever. Just keep those comments, likes, subscriptions up, all that good stuff. Keep the algorithm going and let people know I'm here, that you're there, and other Canadians alike that we're there. We all got something to say, so and everybody should at least take the time to listen to it. Anyhow, like I said, I've been Crusty Canuck, and I wish good things for you all. Look after your friends, loved ones. Do what you can to help you out in these trying times. Let us find the light in this manufactured darkness. And like I always say, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Oh, I love big government. Spank me. Spank me again, big government. Oh, spank it. Spank it.